Welcome to the raw room, truth on the mic, healing the soul, we rise and ignite. Mind, body, spirit aligned in the flame. Raw room tribe, we roar in our name. Red card in a clan, we fly with the light. Keep them straight, that keeps our path tight. Mama's wisdom, roots in the land. We barter, we build with sheepdog's hand. We are the raw room, family and tribe. We speak, we heal, we manifest the vibe. Heaven on earth, we craft and we trade. Truth is our rhythm, love is our blade. Come with your gifts, your voice, your spark. We shine together, we light the dark. This is our temple, our sacred boom. Welcome, beloved, to the roar room. We roar, we light the dark. Roar room is now live. Welcome to the roar room.
Happy 107 day here from the War Room. Glad to have everyone with us.
Hey, hey.
Hey.
Roaring.
Room. There ain't no brakes on this one.
Pedal to the floor.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to make that sound without having a Matchbox car on the floor racing it with my hand. It sounds like vroom as well. Raw room, vroom. I need to get better at that.
So 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 9 is still equals what is it? The 1 and 7. All right. So 107, 1 and 7, 107, military 107. All right. Think about everything that's been taking place in the last couple of years on 107. Crazy.
Hey, watch the way you say 107 because people will think you're talking about somebody else.
Oh, I'm talking about the date.
I know. It was just the way that you said it the last time. I'm like, ooh, watch out, you've been saying 107.
If it makes you think, then, mission accomplished. Right. Or at least open your mind to the way the numbers fall and how events take place. Right. Just take note. That's all. Right. Especially the Q heads, right? Well, they're looking at today as a 17 day. 1 and 7 is 8. 8 plus 9 is 17 still. And 1 and 7 is, so it comes back down to 8. 1 plus 7 is 8. So whatever you add to 9, it equals the number that you're adding to 9. That's what is crazy about the number 9. But anyways, what is it? Taco Tuesday? Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Taco Tequila Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday, TT 2020 vision. Can you see? Oh, say, can you see? And then you stop right there.
Yeah.
If you can get past that. Right.
Right.
You don't know the entire first stanza set of that song? You don't know the first 4 verses at least? You got to follow the program. You're told what to see. By the dawn's early light.
Oh, say, can you see what I'm saying? Through the propaganda and the Smith-Monk Act.
Are you being serious right now?
Are you serious right now? Yeah, I just kind of freestyled that one. I probably could do it a little bit better. Not so corny. It was a little corny. Could have did a little better, but anyways.
I think that corn poopy had just the right grit. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, you're not corny, bro.
Thank you. That means a lot. All right. So a lot's taking place, right? I mean, it just depends on what people's perception is, and we had a really good chat this morning, right? Or rising or day today, right? We're still in the process of deprogramming myself, so it's just a process. Trust that process, and so we talked about the digital currency today, the gold and silver. We talked about the gold and silver prices. Um, Silver being at nearly $50, gold almost $4 grand, and platinum at about 1,600. So, and we were talking about things running parallel, right? And Mike talked about things two systems running parallel, right? Digital fiat, and they gave the other option is the gold and silver coinage as per the Constitution, even your state constitution, right? So that option is still there, and by the move that Abbott has made in Texas, uh, and he's also brought that subject back up, right, Ms. Shubin?
Done 2 years ago, but it act like it was done 2 years ago. But he's bringing it up again like it's brand new. But that was done 2 years ago.
Right. It's almost like people forgot that Trump made hemp legal in 2018 with the Farm Bill Act, and then all of a sudden we're like, all of the local governors and Trump's, the people that call themselves MAGA, do everything they can to stop it, and it's like, wait, he made it legal. Like Trump made that shit legal, and you claim to be on Trump's team, but you're undoing what he had set forth with the farming bill, right? 2018. Also with the right to try, that's another thing. We played. Can we play that story first about with at the hospital? What's taking place at the hospital?
The one with Biden?
Yeah, did we play that last night on the show?
No, the one I just played.
Oh no, we played it last night on the show, didn't we? Yeah, and we played it on the morning chat in Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, we did that.
Yeah, okay, so we already played
We
that.
played that both the chat and the show.
Right, the hospital's trying to basically kidnap or hold on to or not allow a mother to treat her son as she sees fit, the right to try act, right?
Right, they ignored
When
that
everything
as well.
else fails, you have the right to try other options.
That's right.
And she's doing that, and then she's having issues in Oklahoma hospital with her autistic son, who's been doing outstanding, by the way. He's 17 years old. Uh, she said he was mowing the yard today that they went to the hospital. So he's in great health, and they wanted to give him their treatments, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
The big pharma route.
Yeah, he has leukemia. They
Yeah,
want to give
leukemia.
him chemo, and
Yeah, they want to give him chemo. So that's a really big story taking place in Oklahoma right now, as far as parental rights are concerned, and that should concern a lot of parents out there, right? So when one person's rights get violated, which is all constitutional rights being violated, then all of our rights get violated, and that's just the way you got to look at it, right? Put all the political divisions aside. I didn't tell you who she voted for because it doesn't matter. This is real people going through real shit while this movie plays out, if you want to call it that.
Right.
Right.
The movie narrative does not preclude casualties in the war.
No. They don't put that across the ticker. Only when they need to psyop somebody into doing something like the Iraq War. How they remember they just put how many people were killed across the bottom of the screen during the war.
Yeah, it was so that we're in a narrative war. We talk about this a lot, and these are narrative salvos. They're moving troops. So there's something that happens in the natural disaster, quote unquote, natural disaster space, where just the deep state. This is absolutely a true story. The deep state gauges how effective they are based on things like toilet paper sales and bottled water, because they steer the storms. They look at geoengineering, at weather modification. For years, I've been preaching this. Just finally, it's, why do you need legislation to stop something that doesn't exist, right? So, which is all this messing with the weather stuff. So if it's true that the weather can be messed with, which we know is true, then the narrative deployment is about the scariness of that weather, so that people rush to the store and they buy toilet paper and bottled water. So that the sales numbers are an indicator. So that's a narrative deployment. So you're part of the war movie when you go to the store and buy toilet paper. Does that make sense? Because we're going to talk about not consenting today. So does that correlate make sense, Sheepdog?
Yeah, I don't consent to shit.
That's right.
Makes a lot of sense. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's why the toilet paper shortage was, because they knew the bullshit was going to get deep.
Well,
but we got waiters. Waiters around here.
You hate wiping with your hand.
We're waiters. We don't get none of that shit in our boots. Sometimes the water is murky, man. The truth is murky, and it's murky with a bunch of bullshit, right?
That's
Just
right.
like in a pond, right? So you just got to wade through the bullshit. The truth is still there. It's just you got to wade through the bullshit. Water is truth,
Right.
so the water can't be changed. But however, it can be polluted, and when it's polluted, then that's the symbolically meaning you're in a murky pond. A small fish in a big pond, right? You're just a small fish in a big pond type language. But anyways, yeah, man, crazy. Panic shopping, panic buying. When we talk about the weather manipulation, some of the weather manipulation programs even have Satan in their initials, right?
Oh yeah.
Here, I can read one of them off right here. It's called, because I pulled this earlier. But here we go. Alrighty. I got to get through all this other murky shit that I posted in my chat. So it's called Satan. S.A.T.A.N. Right? This all caps. The Stratospheric Aerosol Transport and Nucleation Project, which is heavy metal nanoparticles sprayed into the air. That's acronym Satan. Stratospheric Aerosol Transport and Nucleation Project. Here, I'll share it with you. Let me share it with you. Little show and tell tonight. Let's do window. I don't know if you've seen this, Gandalph. There it is. Let me add that to the screen there. Y'all could see that. What you got on that, Gandalf?
So I have not seen this. I've got an echo. I'm not sure if I agree with that. But I do know that our
Yeah, but not to get off topic here. Let's go back to the what we have to not consent to, right? No, we can no longer be in tacit compliance. Just nod, just shake your head, and
Right.
just click a little check mark on a ballot and go to the booth and then go back home and then
No,
no,
you
you
don't
can no
vote
longer
yourself out of this.
you can't vote
Yeah.
yourself out of into freedom.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to vote for freedom? Vote for me. It's propaganda, right? If you don't vote for me, you're going to hell. That's all propaganda. It works. All right. So there we go. What else? Let's go to the. So we're going to start with. Right. So we're going to start with. No, we're not going to start with APAC and our American politicians. We're going to skip this subject. We're not going to go over the fact that there's two different Pam Bondis. We're not going to go over the Samson option right now, or the false flag narrative, or Grandma's Garden. I don't know if y'all seen Grandma's Garden. But we're going to go over gold and silver, and then we're going to go over digital.
Yes,
The twin, right?
that's right.
That was a split on 9/11. The Twin Towers. It was just going into the digital
And we did.
because the gold was under the. Well, allegedly, the gold is under Building 7, which
Right.
fell. So that was a split right there from that possibility, because the Jubilee was supposed to have been in 1999, party like it's 1999, because of the way the numbers fall. Every 70 years is the Jubilee for the nation, which is debt forgiveness, right?
That's right. And the land returned back to the original.
Every 7 years, as per Deuteronomy 15, that's all debts are supposed to be forgiven, right? You can go read the scripture. So we were talking about that today, and connecting, you know, biblically and spiritually, and in order generational wealth. So this is for, we're at a fork in the road where we have to make a decision that's going to either negatively impact our grandchildren, great grandchildren, 7 generations ahead, or it's going to positively impact them 7 generations ahead. So you got to ask yourself, what do you want for your family? What do you want to leave behind? What for your, because every good father and mother leaves behind an inheritance for their children. So that's not only within our own families or tribes, but also spiritually, right? And with the land.
Right.
And what this is really all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's about generational wealth.
Yeah, we got to get the stolen wealth that was pledged by our forefathers, that was supposed to be held in Fort Knox and returned, but it never was. That's what we want back, and the land returned.
Right.
Not digital currency.
Fiat. We're going to go over that. Is this it right here? Project Esther? Is that how we're working?
That's Project Esther. That's about the paid influencers.
Oh, okay, so I can just go on out. So Deuteronomy 15, I'll just go ahead and put this in there. So the year for canceling debts, at the end of every 7 years, you must cancel debts. I can stop right there. I can literally stop right there. This is how it is to be done. I can stop right there. Every creditor shall cancel any loan they have made to a fellow Israelite. They shall not require payment from anyone among their own people, because the Lord's time for canceling debts has been proclaimed. You may require payment from a foreigner, but you must cancel any debt your fellow Israelite owes you. However, there need be no poor people among you, for in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess as your inheritance, he will richly bless you. If, there's an if, only you fully obey the Lord your God and are careful to follow all these commands I am giving you today. For the Lord your God will bless you as he has promised, and you will lend to many nations. But why is that? How come I can't see that? It's cut off at the bottom. But you will rule over many. So we'll go right here. So if anyone is poor among your fellow Israelites in any of the towns of the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not be hard-hearted, right? Like people have hardened hearts, or tight-fisted toward them. Rather, be open-handed and freely lend them whatever they need. So be careful not to harbor this wicked thought. The seventh year, the year for canceling debts, is near, so that you do not show ill will toward the needy among your fellow Israelites and give them nothing. They may then appeal to the Lord against you, and you will be found guilty of sin. Give generously to them and do so without a grudging heart. Then, because of this, the Lord your God will bless you in all your work and in everything you put your hand to. There will always be poor people in the land. Therefore, I command you to be open handed toward your fellow Israelites who are poor and needy in your land. Right? So, this is also freeing the servants after 7 years of service.
Right.
And we're seeing all these layoffs.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Because you're supposed to have a year.
Well, there's supposed to be a Jubilee schedule that's yearly as well. So if we're on a 13-month calendar, then there's one extra day in the year, and that last day of the year is the day of Jubilee. And then every 7 years, there is a year of Jubilee. And then every seventh rotation, 49 years, there is a Jubilee of Jubilees, which is the 50th year, and that's like a super Jubilee. And the thing that we lost when our calendar was taken away, we went Gregorian, Julian, whichever, Mayan, Incan, whichever you want to go by. The true calendar we're supposed to be going by is the celestial calendar that shows festivals and Jubilee events. And we are supposed to have Jubilee, which is a relief of debt. And spiritually, it is a Jubilee day for a release of guilt and a balancing of relationships. So the Jubilee schedule is what's supposed to drive our spiritual harmony and oneness with our Creator, who I personally think is embodied in Christ in the Christian model that I subscribe to. I mean, so the Jubilee thing is not just every 7 years; it's every year for one day.
Yep. Yeah, it's in the Lord's Prayer, right? Forgive our debts and forgive those.
Yes.
We say it every day, right?
Right.
And we still tell our neighbor, you owe me $5.
Right. Yeah, the Jubilee's already taken place.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
The land's already started to be returned back to the original owner.
How can they return it back when it never went anywhere?
It was stolen.
Yeah, in our minds. But
Right.
literally,
it was stolen by a piece of paper.
Like they said, look out the window and there's the land still there.
It was
Yeah, be on paperwork, right?
on paperwork.
Just on paper, man. That's all. Paper chain.
Doctrine of Discovery, which was rescinded by the Pope before he passed. Right? So that's why the land started going back.
Well, it's the fiat empire crumbling.
Yes.
Fiat is false.
Replace it with the digital fiat backed by the dollar, which is in the Genius Act.
It's genius. All caps, genius.
Which is the opposite.
Which means corporation, doesn't it? If it's in all caps and it says genius in all caps, you notice that?
Right.
Yeah, how many people notice that? How many people notice his think mirror?
Exactly.
It's kind of like the smartphones. Everything has its own acronym or its own little hidden meaning other than genius.
Right.
If you're just reading it literally, it's somebody's put this together and there's got to be a genius whoever did it. Yeah, but what team they batting for, right? So U.S. Central, go ahead.
You know what? I just looked up genius in gematria. The first two come up: no coincidences and testing. God's bloodline.
Yeah, testing. So a U.S. Thank you for looking that up. A U.S. What does U.S. mean? Does that mean United States of America, or does that mean United States corporation business? Is that what we're talking about? Yes. Okay. So a U.S. corporation central bank digital currency (CBDC) would be a tokenized. Are you a token? And a blockchain based version of the U.S. dollar, maintained and issued by the Federal Reserve, by the Fed. This form of digital fiat money would be similar to cryptocurrencies, and that a blockchain would be used, but a CBDC would be regulated by the Federal Reserve, recognized as legal tender, and backed by the full faith and credit of the United States corporation government business.
Right.
So what's going to happen is you can't pay a debt off with fiat, folks. So you're going to maintain the debt.
And that debt does not belong.
So therefore, that goes against Scripture.
It belongs to the corporation.
Right. But they're going to keep it going because you can't pay off a debt with fiat. You got to pay it off with gold and silver.
That's right.
If there is a debt. But you also have what we just read, Deuteronomy 15.
That's right.
Somebody's not ignoring, because the Scripture and the Bible, 1611 King James Version, right? Or the 1611.
1611.
Right. Is all legal documents.
Right. That's what they use, the ecclesiastic law.
Yes.
Which they appointed themselves as the Christ to rule over, which didn't belong to them. But that's going away too.
They need this to do the major transactions, because you don't want to, they don't want to send silver and gold back and forth across the ships, so they want to make it a lot faster transactions. So remember, this is set up for them, right?
Right.
Because that's what what they had planned for us is going to actually backfire. It's going to actually benefit us in the long run, because they're all going to be on this. All those people, everybody's fixing to be on this blockchain. So all that corruption is going bye-bye.
Yes.
You do realize that this is already in place, right? Correct?
But it's not going to last long.
Well, then we got to
check. Hang on. I mean, I work in the financial industry in cybersecurity, and they are in the process. The banking system and the federal government are in the process to remove all physical money from the system.
Yes, that was part of the New World Order.
Within the next 5 to 10 years, you will not be able to go to a bank and get physical money. And if you look at it now, everybody already pays their bills. 90% of the people in the population of the world pay their bills and pay everything through what? Through an app or through a computer. Everything is digital already. And the banks that I've worked for are already in process to swap over fiat currency to digital Bitcoin, some form of blockchain. This is already happening as we speak, been happening for the last 3 years.
It's not going to go. It's going to go down.
Not immediately.
That's
because
for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. This is but from the United Nations, right?
Yeah, they already know. We know we already know that to be the fact, is what he just said.
Yeah, digital will go. And it's going to be replaced with constitutional money, gold and silver backed constitutional money.
The question is, what are you going to do?
Right.
About it?
Right. Exactly.
That's where the fork in the road splits. Are you a constitutionalist or an unconstitutional? Are you going to depend on? Are you going to be your own banker, or are you going to allow the bank to dictate
Exactly.
and take control over your affairs?
Yeah, it's coming from the world.
Especially when you start speaking out against it, then they start messing with your accounts, freezing your accounts, shit like that,
That's
just like they
exactly
did
what
the
it's doing.
truckers in Canada. Yeah,
The blockchain.
don't let them have that control. This is the you're going to. It
Which
says,
is-
"Come out of her, my people, or partake in her plagues."
Right.
Come out of her. It's like being reborn, right? Almost.
It's going to run for a little bit,
Yeah, it already is.
but the
That's
banks
why-
are going to go away. Banks are going.
Well, yeah, like you just said, there ain't gonna be no more currency, so therefore you're not gonna have the normal transactions like you
No.
normally would.
That's right.
You won't even have to go to the bank because it's all digital now.
Right.
You won't the drive-through shit. That's all. You might no more dumb pop-ups.
Yeah,
a
they
cigarette.
have us on digital to ease us up into this
What are you gonna drop off
on the blockchain.
So are you telling me you're gonna drive to the bank to drop off that digital Bitcoin? Come on, that weighs nothing and backed
Which
by
is
nothing.
nothing. It's data. That's it.
That's it. But it's genius.
Oh, it's so genius. Yeah.
Yeah, it is when you think about it, because there is a negative and a positive to all of this.
That's right.
So it just depends on how you look at it. I'm just hey, if it means that they're all fixing to be under the microscope, hey,
Yes, like that.
put
that
a block
guy
and a chain
said,
on them.
under the military, all officials will be on the blockchain. Right? We get to make that choice.
They created this monster, so here we are.
And that's why they passed in almost every state that they accept gold and silver as legal tender, even though it's already in our constitution, because you'll have to make a decision which one you're going to use.
Some people are, celebrating, and that's. But when you think about your generations ahead, is that what you're going to leave behind? Some Bitcoin or digital coin? How are you going to leave behind any generational wealth for your grandchildren if everything's digital
Right.
and they control it, right? They know what you're leaving behind. They tax that. So we have the quantum financial system is here. We are entering a phase of the greatest of wealth, distribution of wealth. According to this guy, gold and silver are running the show.
What
Which I
you read that part, the highlighted part. You can
thought,
trade in your gold and silver and your rubles and for digital. Same thing they did in 1933. And they traded their gold and silver in for fiat. It's the same thing.
You're just repeating the history.
It's backed by the dollar, which is worth zero. That's why they formed BRICS, right? To de-dollarize the United States and you have them lose their power. So the only way that you can keep functioning is going digital.
Sheepdogs, could you just talk for a second about that rainbow currency? Because somebody's asking about it in chat.
Rainbow currency, well, Mike said that was BS.
We are
Right,
the
we are
rainbow
the
currency
rainbow
is the seven chakras. Okay,
Yeah,
That's it.
us. We're actually the currency.
That's the rainbow currency. It's within us.
Yes. But not printed.
Right.
Printed rainbow currency.
Right. So it's really there's nothing to fear. I mean,
No.
nothing at all. You just need to be aware. This is where we're at. And this is for some, this is the line in the sand. For others, this is heaven on earth. And being under that blockchain. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's.
It says it right there in the word blockchain, right?
Mhm.
You're chained.
When I was first introduced to Bitcoin through a coworker of mine, my first question was, how do you go about leaving any of your digital currency to your beneficiaries? And he said at that time that there wasn't any way to do that. So then what happens if something happens to you? Where is that going to?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. That's what my concern is. That's why you have to have it in hand. That's why we're saying.
Yeah, we'll be our own banks.
Yeah,
Yeah, eventually. So
it's a mindset. First off, you got to Think about your grandchildren this time, folks. What happened? Are we Are we repeating the same mistakes that our great grandparents made?
We're getting reintroduced to the same thing.
Damn it!
We got to correct it, right?
Damn. It's like we're in a loop.
Right.
Every 100-year loop. Shit. We're gonna have to exit, man.
Yeah, we'll
You
go
gotta
back.
exit.
We'll go back to writing checks like we used to, right? And have go back notes. I mean, Kennedy had silverback notes that was supposed to be actually was minted and printed. Was supposed to be circulated, but he got killed
Right.
and never went out.
So let me look at this real quick. Let's look at this video that we showed this morning.
New Monopoly Electronic Banking. With the swipe of a card, you can have it all.
It's all about the money, money, money. You just need your money, money, money. We just want to make the world dance. It's not about the price tag. It's all about the cha-ching, cha-ching. It's all about the ba-bling, ba-bling.
Swipe your card, and the world is yours. Monopoly Electronic Banking Game. Batteries not included. Live rich. New Monopoly Electronic Banking.
The world is
yours.
yours. With a swipe of a
I
card.
can give you this whole world. And Jesus said, man, you better get the hell away from me with that bullshit.
That's right.
So when we were kids, we played with the board game and had paper money. We were being indoctrinated into a paper money process so that fiat currency within the Monopoly game, because the dollar bill, the USD, all caps, has the same real value as the Monopoly money. It's all made up. It's all about your confidence in the process. So the new generation doesn't even get to play with the paper money. They get a card. That's some pretty big predictive programming right there, bro.
That was 14 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
That video came out for Monopoly
That
advertising.
was 14 years ago.
Years ago, man. Dude. They lost.
You.
Right. So you look right here. Look, Monopoly official board game thing. This isn't no AI generated video. This is from Monopoly official's website, and the 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Right here, October 6, 2011. It's October 7th, 2025. What are the odds
Right.
of me sharing that today?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's divine timing. So this is where we're at right now on 107. Right.
That's right.
We're literally still playing Monopoly with the car. You can have the world. Just swipe it. It doesn't matter what the price is. You can have the world until you say something we don't like.
Right.
Yeah. Silencing, just
Freedom.
Just in.
Ooh, we're free. No,
So
you're not.
Go into
The blockchain.
Did you read the Genius Act already?
Oh, where was I going next?
You were on the money bit.
Oh, okay, let me go back to that screen real quick.
That commercial throw you off.
Well, yeah. Well, I kind of confirmed some shit, but that was 14 years ago. Right? So let's go to window here. Where's it at? Who's sharing that? Somebody's got their mic unmuted. They're typing like 100 miles an hour.
That was a good one. Just sure.
Oh, right here. Yeah. Let's get this. Share this one. Right now in the world. So those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. He's on the $100 bill now. That's
Right.
Benjamin. Right now. So the Genius Act, so protecting consumers in the digital market, President Trump supports the Genius Act because it protects consumers from nefarious actors in financial markets. Okay. This long overdue legislation creates the first ever federal regulatory system.
Federal.
federal regulatory system for stablecoins, ensuring their ability and trust through strong reserve requirements. The Genius Act requires 100% reserve backing with liquid assets like the US dollar,
which is worth nothing.
which is worth nothing. Or should they come on, guys. Holy shit. Or short-term treasuries, and requires issuers to make monthly public disclosures of the composition of reserves. So stablecoin issuers must comply with strict marketing rules to protect consumers from deceptive practices. Crucially, they are forbidden from making misleading claims that their stablecoins are backed by the U.S. government, federally insured, or legal tender. The Genius Act aligns state and federal stablecoin frameworks, ensuring fair and consistent regulation throughout the country.
Right, and if you go watch Whitney Webb, if you have not already. She goes into this really good too with the backing of it and the programs they're using, right? That's all tied back to the central bank, right?
All right.
It's under the guise that it's not, but it is.
Right now. All right. Let me pop back over here. So that's what we got right there for that.
Hey, Sheep, you've got better bandwidth than me. Can you play that 14-minute Whitney Webb thing?
Yeah, let me. You got it for me?
What?
The Whitney Webb video.
Have it. There it is.
All right, here we go. Let me pull that out for you real quick. While she's getting that.
I sent it to you. I sent it to you.
All right, hold on 1 second. Here we go. Let's pull this up right quick. Add to screen. There we go. Thank you for your patience. Give me 1 second. Let's get some more context to this here. Thank you for bringing that up, Gandalf.
For a lot of reasons. I would, I guess, start off with Peter Thiel by noting that he co-founded PayPal. And so PayPal is sort of one of these ubiquitous, financial sort of like fintech websites, one of the pioneers of the field, rather. And, from its earliest days, people that were involved in setting up PayPal, which includes people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, it's been said by the people who were making that company alongside them that they were in discussions with intelligence agencies and federal agencies from the very beginning about what, those entities were, what they would support in a fintech company, essentially. And, as I reported back when I wrote for Mint Press, the involvement of the now PayPal owner of the who created the Intercept and sort of privatized these Snowden leaks, and a lot of them ended up, never coming out. Allegedly, some of the ones that never came out documented in detail PayPal's relationship to intelligence that has supposedly been ongoing for some time. But aside from PayPal, the clear indicator of intelligence ties with Peter Thiel comes in the form of Palantir, which he incorporated in 2003, but which didn't really start as a company around 2004, 2005. Its first funder was the CIA's venture capital arm, In-Q-Tel. The CIA was its only client. until 2008. And between 2005 and 2009, the top engineers at Palantir say they made over 200 visits to CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, where the CIA directly guided and tweaked, their software products, which are now used by intelligence agencies around the world, as well as healthcare agencies. The HHS and CDC in the US use Palantir, so does the UK's NHS, and it's expanded really throughout the world. What is really arguably a CIA front company, as I've written in past reports on Palantir, the reason, or rather that what Alex Karp and Peter Thiel were interested in doing when they created Palantir was essentially privatizing the Total Information Awareness program that had just been defunded by Congress. Total information awareness is sort of an outgrowth of the Reagan-Bush era of domestic surveillance, schemes, some of which came up during the Iran-Contra proceedings and are linked to things like the continuity of government protocols and the main core database, which are efforts to sort of label people, label domestic dissidents as subversives, based on their online activity. And of course, in the 80s, it was based on other metrics, but now it's your online activity. So whatever data the NSA, for example, hoovers up about you, Palantir decides whether you're deemed subversive or not. And given the continuity of government protocols, which are still on the books, if the US government decides to invoke those, which can be under very vague circumstances, these people labeled subversives by Palantirs could have their constitutional rights suspended if those protocols are ever invoked. So Palantir's role in that, as far as the national security state goes, very nefarious, and they've been very involved in a lot of, other aspects of governance. It's gotten, increasingly bloated and large with over the years. It was intimately involved in Ukrainian military operations during the Ukraine-Russian conflict that's, of course, still ongoing, and are now playing an outsized role in Israel's war on Gaza, which is, as I'm sure Mint Press viewers know, is using AI to mass murder entire families. And Palantir is openly a big part of that, and they're very proud of that. And even when Peter Thiel was asked about that quite recently, he said his bias was to defer to Israel as it relates to the use of AI, this AI-powered war machine that's, committing genocide in the Gaza Strip. And there's a lot of other things to say about Palantir, too. I mean, this company really has a nefarious history. One of the things that a lot of people forget about them is that they created the first plan pitched to the federal government to destroy WikiLeaks and sort of what they called the WikiLeaks threat and stop, national security leak-based reporting. Talked about targeting people like Julian Assange and Glenn Greenwald specifically. And so, this is a company that doesn't value freedom of speech or freedom or your privacy or really, any constitutional right you have, and they directly enable, the warrantless spying on all Americans and use that to profile you on behalf of the national security state. And what's unfortunate, too, is that, we know how Peter Thiel's influence during Trump's first campaign translated into Palantir getting what the New York Times called a bonanza of contracts with the military, the U.S. military, and also with, even more so with U.S. intelligence. And now we also have, the other PayPal co-founder, Elon Musk, now deepening his ties with intelligence agencies through SpaceX, and which was, of course, already technically an intelligence contractor because Space Force is both a part of the military and also an intelligence agency. And so really what you're seeing here is this particular faction of oligarchs, sometime referred to as the so-called PayPal mafia, which have their tendrils deeply embedded in both parties. You may have Peter Thiel and Republican, but you'll have Reid Hoffman and Pierre Omidyar on the Democrat side, for example, and then Elon Musk also now on the Republican side. But really, these are people that build de facto monopolies in direct connection with the U.S. national security state. And if you look at Palantir, it's very clear they care very little about our constitutional rights and freedoms. And despite perhaps, the rhetoric they may espouse publicly. And, it's very unfortunate that so many people believe with how they frame themselves rhetorically because it goes very against their actions. For example, Peter Thiel is often referred to by others as a libertarian, but this is someone who says that he doesn't like free market competition because competition can negatively impact profits and ultimately promotes the idea of, quartering a market and building a monopoly. And when he's done that, which he has, he's done it in direct collaboration from the very beginning with the U.S. national security state. So I would not call that libertarian. I think it's quite clearly fascist. J.D. Vance really owes both his political career and his previous venture capital career to Peter Thiel. For example, Peter Thiel first met J.D. Vance when J.D. Vance was in law school and subsequently offered him his first job in venture capital at a Thiel created venture capital firm called Mithril Capital. After that, Vance went on to become involved with AOL co-founder Steve Case and in Revolution Ventures, and managed a fund there called Rise of the Rest, I believe, which was heavily funded by the Walton family behind Walmart, Jeff Bezos, and a lot of prominent figures of the American oligarchy. And subsequently started his own venture capital firm, Narya Capital, with heavy backing again from Peter Thiel and also from Eric Schmidt, who's a major actually donor to Biden and intimately involved in Biden's science and tech policy. And actually, the two of them are on the steering committee of the rather infamous Bilderberg Conference, interestingly enough. And in addition, when Vance decided to run for office or, for Senate, he was heavily funded by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel donated $15 million to his campaign, which I believe at the time, and maybe still is, the largest donation, a single donation ever made to a Senate candidate. And then J.D. Vance ran initially sort of as a never Trumper and was very anti-Trump. And he became his vice presidential pick, arguably because that rocky relationship was soothed over by Peter Thiel personally, who took and accompanied J.D. Vance to Trump's Mar-a-Lago to sort of smooth over that relationship. And then Vance sort of became a big Trump proponent. And arguably there's a lot of people have referred to Vance as a Peter Thiel protege. And I think, given the evidence, that's pretty fair. But Peter Thiel has several proteges. Vance is one in politics now, and obviously prominent in the Republican Party. But other, noteworthy proteges include people like Sam Altman of OpenAI and WorldCoin, and also Palmer Luckey of the defense startup Anduril, and also of Oculus Rift, the virtual reality system that was sold to Facebook, which Peter Thiel, was on the board of from 2005 until 2022, when he left to try and get Trump-aligned candidates. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the move into central bank digital currencies, for example, or CBDCs. And there's been a lot of criticism around those because of the idea of it being programmable, surveillable money. But for money to be programmable and surveillable, it doesn't necessarily have to be issued by a central bank. It can be also issued by the private sector. And you can add that same type of Orwellian surveillance and, the concerns about programmability, deciding what you can or can't buy based on various metrics, or, based on your online activity, or, the claims of a coming social credit system and all of that. You can have that issued by the private sector, no problem. And so there's been efforts to make a digital dollar in the United States. And there's been concern that there would be a CBDC in the United States. And that's certainly been happening in other countries. But I think in the United States, it's increasingly unlikely, especially considering that, the Federal Reserve in the United States is essentially owned by the private Wall Street banks. And if you're, a central bank digital currency, then the central bank is doing a lot of the job that Wall Street banks normally do. And Wall Street banks want to keep the two-tier system of private banking and central banking as it exists today. So they're most likely to be the issuers of that currency. And I think PayPal, in some of my recent reporting on my website, Unlimited Hangout, have focused a lot on how there's efforts by these groups that are either ex-PayPal or who currently own PayPal to have PayPal and a lot of the companies that are intimately connected to it, for example, like Latin America's Mercado Libre, to be the rails on which all of these digital currencies will run, and to essentially dominate the field. And it's very likely that PayPal's PYUSD is going to be a major contender in that. A lot of, other dollar stable coins may be as well, like Tether, which was intimately tied up with the FTX scandal, or Circle, which has a very intimate relationship with Larry Fink's BlackRock. Any of these, but essentially which digital dollar coins are going to win, that's not going to be all be determined by regulation legislation that's being written and has to be approved first, right, by the Senate Banking Committee, on which J.D. Vance sits. And so, having these particular Silicon Valley figures all tied to PayPal influence him, I think in that context is somewhat, significant, because regulation determines the winners and the losers in the market that it's regulating, right? And so, if the people writing the bill all have ties to the same companies that want to be winners, they can be favored, at the legislative level and, have their, work cut out for them essentially and come to dominate the market. And, PayPal has expressed for a long time they want to dominate the market. You have Peter Thiel on record saying that PayPal was created to replace the US dollar. So there's a lot of things happening here. And what you'd have, as a consequence of that would be the people that run PayPal who, in recent years have just been censoring people for things they've written and stuff like that. They're the ones that would be capable of programming and surveilling your money. And, that's very unfortunate, especially when you consider the connections of, someone like Pierre Omidyar, who owns PayPal right now, which I wrote about Press, several years ago. And I know that Max Blumenthal also did an investigative series for MetPress on our Pierre Omidyar. That's very important. I would encourage people to look at those to learn more about the people that are essentially running this company. And also, the other people that make up this particular network that is very connected to the so-called PayPal mafia and really the PayPal co-founders. I mean, the intelligence ties abound. And I think it's a lot of them frame themselves as, pro-constitution, pro-freedom and all of this. But, a lot of their business decisions reflect something else entirely. And I think it's, important to warn people about this. Well, I think it's quite clear if you look at, just American politicians in general over the last 100 years plus, they tend to serve their biggest donors, correct? And are influenced by their donors. And that's why, follow the money has always been so important when you're reporting on political realities or political figures in the United States. And I think it's abundantly clear that J.D. Vance has those kind of very deep connections to Peter Thiel, and his political career and his venture capitalist career would not have existed if it were not for him. And it's also important to point out that after the vice presidential announcement, you have close allies of Peter Thiel, whether it's Elon Musk or David Sachs or Palmer Luckey or Palantir itself, a Palantir co-founder alongside Thiel named Joe Lonsdale, all beginning to dump millions of dollars per month in the same super PAC that's supporting the Trump-Vance ticket, only after that VP announcement was made. So clearly it seems like that particular network is quite convinced that Vance is going to be their guy when in office. And it's worth pointing out that a lot of these guys are very interested in dominating the digital financial system to come. For example, Elon Musk says that he plans to turn X, Twitter, into half of the financial system. And J.D. Vance has been on the Senate Banking Committee. He's involved in crypto regulation legislation that's being written and drafted and going to be put before Congress. And it's very likely that he'll be involved in choosing the kingmakers of that, like, PayPal's very own recently launched stablecoin and any of these others, companies and currencies that they're, intimately connected to.
Sometimes the
So the question is after that big rant from Whitney Webb, it's much better, no echo. Is that how do you not consent, right? We were talking about consent earlier. What we just heard there is a pretty damning accusation that we're going to get forced into this. So there are some things that you can do. If you listen to Catherine Austin Fitz, she'll tell you that using cash, making cash king as often as possible, that keeps cash in the system. Because according to Whitney's statement and research, that we're supposed to be not having any cash here in 5 years. On the other side of that, Trump is supposedly bringing out a Trump coin, which would fly in the face of that. I know Sheepdog is grinning because this shows that our friend JD Trance is embroiled in all of this. So that, I don't know, this is where I get in trouble because I think voting is consent. Signing credit card statements, I don't use credit cards. It's a debit or it's a cash withdrawal and then a purchase. So I sort of want to run that around the horn. What are the things that you can do in your life to stop consenting?
That's why they want to do the digital ID, right? All your medical records, all your financials, everything's going to be on the digital ID, right? And then you'll have the iOS on your phone.
Yeah, because you can't.
That right then you consented.
Because you can't participate in the other shit if you don't have a digital ID,
That's
right?
right.
So therefore, no digital ID.
So you get that. You've already consented. You contracted back with him. We're already free right now.
Yeah.
We have been freed, and you're going to get captured again. Period.
You can go.
So you can use gold and silver or you barter. That's your option.
Yeah.
But it won't last long.
Some people don't have it.
It's supposed to be over by 2026, which is in October, which is 8. Is really 8, not 10. 9 is September, which is really sept, right?
Timber.
Take the
Yeah,
sept.
but I mean, right now, we're not really through now. I mean, every person has a phone. Every person's on a computer. Everything that we do is monitored and monetized at some point. The only, to answer Gan's question, when he wanted to kick this around the horn, the only way to truly be free is to be completely off grid and away from anything electronic and anything that's technology based. That's the only way to be free, is to go back, quote unquote, to the wild, wild west, or where guns, ammo, gold, silver, 2 shekels for this, 4 bits for this. That's the only way to truly be free in the age that we live in, is to completely walk away from it all. Because they are going to follow us by our digital footprint from the device that we all carry in our pocket. Honestly, I do not think the book 1984 had anything to do with a mark on our foreheads. Had everything to do by this digital item that we all carry on us 24/7. That is the mark of the beast, in my opinion.
Yep, that's right.
It's valid.
So there's already been outlets prepared, right? You got to walk away from it all when that time comes, right? You have gold and silver
Right,
that
there's 2
we can
parallel.
use that, right?
There's-
There is provisions on top of that.
But-
there is bartering, right? We conditioned ourselves to think money is everything, and that is not the case.
Right. So it's really, yeah, you're right with all the technological stuff. We're not
Yes.
free, but when it comes to freeing our minds, that's the only way that
You have
you
to
can
free
break
your mind
free.
first.
It has to be a mindset first and foremost, and within
Very
your
true.
own.
Very true.
Yeah. So, and then everybody's at different stages and stuff, and some people, there's just no, it's already, like you said, Mike, it's already started, so this, you're not saving the world or
How do you stand up against the consent tyranny?
each person is different.
You just don't read consent.
Don't
You don't read
resent,
contracts.
resist the beast. We're supposed to resist it, not comply
Right.
and blindly just go right off the edge of a cliff. I mean, we're supposed to be questioning shit after we got our 2020 vision test.
And they're already offering, because everyone's been stacking their gold and silver, right? They should have been anyway. They're already offering you to turn that in when this hits, right? For digital.
So they want you to give up your gold and silver to the state to give you a credit card in return to put digits on the screen. That's surrendering your
It's not even a
gold and
credit
silver.
card. It's on your phone.
Oh,
That's
it's on
why
your
you have a
phone.
wallet.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Digital wallet.
damn it.
Right. But they use the excuse that all this corruption, which there was. So, problem, solution, reaction, right?
There you go. It's them damn. It's because of immigrants. We got to get digital ID and be put in prison.
They always have an excuse for it all. But really, they want to, like that, what's his name? Ellison said they can control the behaviors of society that way. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. I mean, we played that a couple times on the show.
What you buy.
And they'll be on their best behavior.
And they'll be on their best
And guess who else gets on it? Law enforcement.
Yeah, they're automatically.
Yeah.
Which I think they already are.
Yeah.
That's why
that's why you're seeing a lot of things take place. Yeah. I agree. But if you're walking in the light, you don't have nothing to worry about.
All the churches are on it, right? They're being monitored on everything.
So stay in the light. Don't stay in the dark, and you'll be fine. That's all I can tell you. Be on the up and up. Have good content, good character. Be of peace, love, and light. Don't be doing no evil things that could harm another human being, and you'll be fine.
That's right.
That's natural law.
But you don't have any say so once you go on that until it ends.
Right.
But you're on it. You're on it.
Right. That doesn't mean that your heart's going to stop beating, or you're going to lose your breath and consciousness, and you're not going to be able to live your life.
No, you'll just be acting right the way they want you to.
There you go. That's all. Some people like that shit. Some people like to be handcuffed.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Some people like handcuffs put on them. Some like them with the little. Never mind. Let's go over to refuse the national ID card, real ID, take action, Citizens Council for Health Reform.
Right. They're already having billboards and all that about.
Oh, the billboards.
That,
yeah, right here.
Yeah. Yep.
Right here. Somebody actually. National ID endangers freedom. RefuseID.org. Oh, refuserealid.org.
Yes. But you don't need an ID at all.
got. If you know who you are, you don't.
Right, unless you want to.
Because I am who I say I am.
Or something, but.
Right. Right. See, there you go again.
That's why you have the gold and silver. You don't have to do that. Right.
Right.
That's why we went over to the post office banking. Right. And or using your PO box as a safety deposit box.
So, in other words, you have an option. You have two options.
Yeah, you have an option. You always have options.
That's it. It ain't nothing changed. It's been this way since I've been here. We're waking up to that fact. That's all.
Right.
So you don't feel like you're being, and also when we talk about generational wealth and passing that down to your grandchildren, you also got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Am I going to give up all my gold and silver in exchange for a credit card they're going to give me with digits on it, and I'm going to spend that?
Did.
What I'm going to do? Hand the credit card to my kids?
Like our grandparents did in 1933. Under the New Deal, right? Sold us out, basically.
Yeah.
That's when the Social Security card came. That's when the birth certificates had to be registered. That's when Social Security was implemented. That's when welfare was implemented. That's when everyone traded in their gold and silver for fiat.
So CCHF launches a national billboard campaign against Real ID. Citizens Council for Health Freedom urges Americans to refuse national ID. This is from St. Paul, Minnesota. Citizens Council for Health Freedom, CCHF, has launched a national billboard campaign calling on Americans to stand up and refuse the Real ID, all caps, an unconstitutional national ID system of federal surveillance and control disguised as a reform of driver's licenses. The billboard also makes it clear that you can't fly is a lie. The first refusalid.org billboard went live on April 9th, 2025, just outside of Dallas, Texas, alerting drivers to the threat of the Real ID system, the national ID threat freedom. A second billboard has now gone up off of Highway 41 in Osprey, Florida, a key corridor for travel south of Sarasota. A third is scheduled to launch in Bowling Green, Kentucky, location of the state office of Senator Rand Paul, chairman of the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs. Real ID is not a card, it's a system, a national ID system. Real ID is not about safety, it's about surveillance and control. Said Twala Brazy, I hope I didn't mispronounce that, RNPHN co-founder and president of CCHF. We are calling on Americans to take action to protect themselves because thus far their leaders in Congress are not.
Never have.
They're worried about the halftime show performance. Who's going to perform and sing the song in English or Spanish? That's what they're focused on. We are calling on Americans to take action to protect themselves because thus far their leaders in Congress are not. Real ID is a federal violation of states' rights and individual rights. No American should be forced to show a federally controlled ID to fly or move freely in their own country.
That's right.
Amen.
At the airport, all you can bring just your birth certificate.
Yeah, now keep in mind this Real ID thing was passed in 2005.
Right. They're just bringing it all out
It's
now.
just coming, just like that Monopoly game we just played earlier, that
Right.
video 14 years ago. And
Right.
it's just now all like kind of, but we've been there. So it was passed in 2005. The Real ID Act unconstitutionally requires states to issue federally compliant driver's license and identification cards containing machine readable technology,
What we have
individualized,
federal.
yeah, individualized biometric coordinates, and standardized data. It's all about that data. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Are rapidly laying the groundwork for a digitized national ID, infringing on constitutional rights and state sovereignty. Ooh, talk about sovereignty. CCHF's refusalid.org billboards are only the beginning. Additional billboards are being planned in other states across the country to educate the public, right? Urge state lawmakers to act and encourage Americans to opt out of the Real ID system by requesting a non-compliant standard state driver's license, right?
Right. Which you don't need a
Which you don't
driver's
need.
license. You can travel. You have the right to travel in your automobile, not vehicle.
So there you go. There's that.
Language matters.
All right. So here's more on that. We're going to share these links out to educate the public on their options. This is more of what we just read. It's going to go more over the Real ID Act 2005 and the facial recognition technology. Some stores are putting it in their entrance. As soon as you walk in, they take a picture of you.
That was at Burlington
Coat Factory. You, before they let you in this, you walk in the front door, you stand in front of a big TV screen, which is you on camera. They snap a photo and then they open another gate to let you in to go shop.
And if you've ever stolen from there, they won't. It's denied entry. That's what they're saying. But that's just the start, right? Saying if you ever stole from there, or what else later. See if you allow that, you open the door for much more. You just don't shop there.
Yeah, there you go. So 107 is Hunter's Moon. The hunters become the hunted. Supermoon. There's going to be two more back to back to back. It's the first supermoon of 2025. So if you're feeling the energies coming in, or some people are different, everybody's different, and so it makes some people tired, some people can't sleep.
Right.
All right. So the one true divide, there is only one true divide that separates humanity into two distinct types of individuals. The criterion for this divide is, or the criteria for this divide is whether or not a person believes in authority and therefore believes that there is legitimacy to slavery. That is the only divide which truly separates us, which is statism.
That's what Larkin Rose always talks about, statism.
A statist is a person who erroneously believes that there is such thing as authority vested in certain people, giving them the right to rule over others, which is what we've seen with Benny Johnson's um, what he said at the memorial, right? He said these are our world leaders; they rule over us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
We rule over them. They flipped it on us.
Like, anyways, so that's what we're saying here.
They're our servants.
Some people think that the government is the ruler over them, and whatever they tell them to do, they have to do it.
That's right.
That's not America.
That's not the case.
No, the power is inherent in the people, and the government is vested under their authority.
That's right.
Benny. Damn, dude. So this authority means that certain people who call themselves government have the moral right to issue commands to those whom they rule, those under their jurisdiction, and that their subject slaves have a moral obligation to obey the arbitrary dictates or laws set by their masters. Most simply put, a statist is someone who believes in the legitimacy of slavery. Then you have anarchy. Conversely, an anarchist is a person that knows there could never be legitimacy to authority or government because those terms are simply a euphemism for violence and slavery, which are always immoral and in opposition to natural law. So the word anarchy is derived from the Greek prefix ana, which means, or an, which means without or the absence of, and the Greek noun akron, which means master or ruler. So anarchy does not mean without rules. It literally means without rulers or without masters.
And when they demonize that word, right?
Right.
Antarctic.
The only permanent rules that are in place are the ones of natural law. So no masters equals no servants equals no slaves. So it seems self-evident that anarchy is the true meaning of freedom. And yet, when you ask a person what anarchy means to them and what they associate it with, the answer will most likely be rioting, looting, and destroying other people's property. In one word, chaos, which is literally the exact opposite of what anarchy truly is. True freedom includes infinite possibility, which, by definition, includes the possibility of chaos. The possibility must be embraced without fear if we are to be truly free. For real freedom to exist, we must accept that in the physical world there are risks and there could be dangers, and there will always be the possibility of something unaccepted happening, something going wrong, or someone getting hurt. But if you are living in that state of fear, you are living in a very low state of consciousness. Fear ultimately leads to chaos. So, through their fear of the possibility of chaos, true freedom, most people advocate the legitimacy and continuance of authority and government, and are therefore actually advocating the legitimacy and continuance of violence and slavery. So, those who believe that authority is necessary and that it must continue have been duped into believing that human slavery is necessary and must continue in order to prevent chaos. So, violence and slavery cannot prevent chaos. Violence and slavery are chaos. That's the one true divide.
Right.
Those that want someone to rule over them and those that don't. It's that
You're going
simple.
to the gym
Okay.
and you want someone to roll over you.
So we'll share that article out. So we talked about Project Esther this morning as well. So Project Esther is a newly filed U.S. FARA document express. Project Esther is an Israeli foreign ministry funded influencer campaign aimed at shaping U.S. public opinion through cultural soft power. The filing shows Bridges Partners LLC, run by Yuri Steinberg, former Israel Tourism Commissioner for North America, contracted with Havas Media Germany on behalf of Israel's foreign ministry. The contract explicitly refers to, references, quote unquote, Esther Project, and outlines a multi stage INT influencer campaign worth at least $400,000, including influencer onboarding, content production, and paid posts. So officially, the campaign aims to promote cultural interchange between the United States and Israel. Keyword United States, that's the corporation. Okay, when they just said it every night. So keep that in mind when we're moving forward, and you won't get caught up in emotionally in what we've been brainwashed to believe. So the United States corporation in Israel, diplomatic language for targeted influence ops. So Project Esther appears to be the soft power influencer prong of Israel's 2025 global propaganda strategy, complementing the $145 million project. It's called Project 545, which is AI and algorithms manipulation program run through Trump ally Brad Parcel's firm. You'll remember Brad Parcel. So together they form a two-track operation, which is Esther Project and Project 545. Esther Project is the influencer network's cultural messaging narrative seeding. So we have cloud seeding and we have narrative seeding. We have AI saturation, TikTok, Gen Z targeting, and algorithm and gaming. So that was filed on September 26th, 2025, which was just a few weeks back, right?
So the shutdown of our government, quote unquote, and the stopping of the funding through USAID. USAID was paying 8 or 9 thousand journalists throughout the realm. 8 or 9 thousand journalists.
Oh, yeah.
So that's every major television broadcaster in every country in every language. One common narrative. We're in a narrative war. So if you think you get a little confused sometimes, it's because you're bombarded with a narrative. And if you hear something enough times, again and again and again and again and again, it's very hard to have the resiliency and the energy to keep standing up and saying, you know what, I don't believe that. right.
This is horseshit. This is fake news. Trump was right. He wasn't lying when they said fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news. Fake news, fake news, fake news. Oh, he said it 1,000 times. He said central casting 1,000 times.
Right.
So at one point, do you start saying, "Man, this is just a move. This is all mind manipulation, Trump-based mind control."
Also, what we talked about today
Mhm.
is how Trump brings
But-
everyone that needs to be so you're supposed to do the think mirror.
Look at COVID.
Opposite of everything he says, you do the opposite.
All right, look at COVID.
Exactly.
Did you go get the vaccine when he said, "Hey, go get that vaccine"?
The vaccine.
Maxine Waters. When you got the Maxine Waters, right? So think about
It's
that.
called discernment. Yeah.
Hmm. It's totally safe and effective. It's totally safe and effective. It's totally safe and effective. Totally safe and effective. They all say totally safe and effective. Was it totally safe and effective? Or did they just repeat that to make you believe? And they even told people they were sick based on their, their symptoms. They repeat those symptoms. Like a lot of our elderly people that listen, these commercials of the air on Rumble and stuff, they do the big pharma commercials and they go over the symptoms. We all have those damn symptoms they describe. Just about everything. You have, oh, my back, you got an achy back. Are you tired of the bullshit? Is your butt, it's like all these different symptoms that average everyday people are going to have maybe throughout, especially when they get a little older, start a little creaking a little bit, right? So that's another part of what was talking about with repetitive, or the way they use repetition to make a lie the truth at some point. If you tell it long enough, it becomes a truth. Where is this?
Who's this guy that looks like I might see him on a golf cart? Who's that guy?
It's pretty good.
It's a period where right now in the world we're going through the period where they say the storm some earth-shaking things will occur. Our belief system will be challenged, emotions will rise to a high temperature, and we're coming to the end of an era where this massive change is going to occur. Our planet is going through a huge change. The planetary configurations all are aligned, but there will be those who cannot make that change, and they cannot come along. The planet will go whether we want to come along for the ride or not.
All right. Let me open this document. So oh, there it is. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay, see that UCC filing? Oh, on the other video, it goes over that. But UCC filing. See that name on there? This is an official UCC filing. Jesus Christ, right? This is why ecclesiastical law is going away. This was started back with King George, and now is with King Charles.
King Charles.
Calling himself Jesus Christ, right? That's how they've been able to take over land and all the stuff under the name of, they believe they were appointed by God to rule.
Yeah.
And this is how they've been getting away with it. See, they file. Christ would not file anything.
Right.
Any government.
Which takes us to.
So there's
Sheep talk, can't hear it.
because that's not the same hymn sheet. The Crown is saying if you want to use defend yourself, you use the book that we've authorized, and that's called the KJV 1611.
I'm not a Christian, but trust law requires you to study a lot having to do with the Bible. It's all from the
So there's no getting around the fact that the Bible, and in our case, the Crown's authorized the KJV Bible, so it's the King James Version 1611. That just means that don't turn up to court with an NIV Bible, because that's not the same hymn sheet. The Crown is saying if you want to use the words from the Bible to defend yourself, you use the book that we've authorized, and that's called the KJV 1611.
I'm not a Christian, but trust law requires you to study a lot having to do with the Bible. It's all from the Bible. It's all from that type of thing. So regardless of how religious you are, if you want to get into trust and trust law and go down that rabbit hole in a deep and meaningful way, you will be studying the Bible. You will be studying Bible verses. You will be studying the Word of Jesus Christ, whether you are religious or want to or not. I have no desire to be a Christian or to involve myself at all, but I have a strong desire in taking this information that's in this book called the Bible, and realizing that it all of law, I mean really all of law comes from the Bible. So you have a parable from the Bible, and then that becomes like a huge, like really, really basic element in the legal system. And I feel like a lot of that's the Bible and trust law. So it's a fascinating philosophical, spiritual journey that a lot of Christians are getting involved in. They see this as literally like even a greater understanding than their own church of the voice of God. It's almost like a church for a lot of people, even though I don't look at it that way. But it's like there's a lot of people who are on board who are like, I'm getting more closer to God from this material than I am from my own church, which is like crazy, right?
And so a lot of how it works in the families is you've got two main approaches. If you've got unlimited access to wealth, power, like really, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about power, unlimited raw power, where a phone call, the phone book, is far more powerful than the bank account, because it's who you know can open doors to power anywhere else in the entire world. So you can leave with nothing, but then you can go build. And if you need the phone book, there's a price to be paid. And the price to be paid is generally one of your children. It seems bizarre to some, But a child is generally a chosen child out of the family is given over as an offering to the family. And they're the ones who's going to go through this left-hand path. They're going to experience the desecration of their soul, their identity, and they're going to become an agent for the family that is owned completely. And there's like a legal trustee that is given over to it. There's a board of directors that sits over it. Like these are real legal confines for how the wealth is distributed out there. In order to build your empire, you've got to be able to go prove yourself. And where I was born, that is a place that's a high place, Mount Humphreys. It's a volcanic peaks that sit there. The top of it is where the Hopi Indian and a lot of people had gathered forever to commune with the fallen. They believed that the sons of the sky would come down every season at the winter solstice, and they would abide from the winter solstice to the summer solstice there. This was a place where they would give their daughters over to them. This is Hopi mythology, like 101. You know, they would make these Kachina dolls, which were an effigy of what I would say is a watcher angel that would come, and the daughter would be given to him, and she would place that over her bed throughout her life, you know, and now that's her familiar spirit. That's where I was born into. And the people that still practice that old religion, that's the way I refer to it, they still do this. And they still take their children up there to give them over to them on these high days. And so I was born into that, and I was born through that seed line and into that ritual magic world.
Many historical texts do connect rites to divine origins. Different philosophical and religious traditions have documented these ideas throughout history. Historical texts that some use to challenge modern legal systems include the Bible, particularly Romans 13 and Acts 5:29, which some interpret as establishing divine law above human authority. The Magna Carta, Totwa 1215, established limits on sovereign power and is considered a foundation for natural rights. Declaration of Independence, 1776, references laws of nature and of nature's God and unalienable rights. William Blackstone's Commentaries on the Laws of England, 1765 to 1769, discusses natural law as superior to human law. John Locke's Two Treatises of Government, 1689, argues natural rights exist prior to government. The Federalist Papers, particularly Hamilton and Madison's writings on natural rights. Courts generally recognize these historical influences while still upholding the established legal framework.
So Jesus claimed that he had authority given to him from God. When he said that to people, they knew what he was talking about and who God was. So there must have been a text or something before Jesus that proved natural law, for lack of a better term.
Yes, before Jesus, several ancient texts established concepts of divine or natural law that would have been familiar to his contemporaries. The Torah/Hebrew Bible, dating from approximately 1200 to 165 BCE, particularly the Ten Commandments and Mosaic Law, which established divine authority and natural order. The Dead Sea Scrolls, approximately 250 BCE 68 CE, contain texts on divine authority and cosmic order, various Greek philosophical works, especially those of Aristotle, Tara 384 to 322 BCE, and the Stoics, which developed natural law concepts. The Book of Enoch, approximately 300-100 BCE, discusses divine authority and cosmic order. The Wisdom of Solomon, approximately 100 BCE, explores divine justice and natural order. These texts established frameworks of divine authority and natural law that would have provided context for Jesus' claims about his authority from God. His audience would have understood these references within their existing religious and philosophical traditions. These entities, call them archons, operate like predators that thrive on our unknowing consent. Think of it as a hidden contract in God's court, the ultimate legal system. If you stay unaware, they feed off you by default. The Dead Sea Scrolls in the War Scroll warns that the sons of light triumph only when they spot the shadow lurking at their side. Conscious awareness is their undoing. In the suppressed sections of Enoch, there's a technique called the binding of awareness. The practitioner states, "I see you who feeds in shadow. By naming you, I bind you. By knowing you, I command you. By awareness, I banish you." You speak this while envisioning a golden sphere of light expanding from your heart. The Essenes called it the vigilance of Solomon. Shining that focused attention is like flipping on a switch in a dark room. Shadows vanish, and you revoke the Archon's right to feed on your energy. Many traditions echo this. The Egyptian Book of the Dead mentions binding those who devour the K life force. Medieval grimoires describe similar beings, and Native American shamans talk of hungry ghosts feeding on sexual energy. Across the board, they emphasize that by calling these entities out, by withdrawing your unconscious consent, you strip them of their power. So speak aloud. I am aware of your presence. You have no permission to feed from my energy. I reclaim my sovereign space. In so doing, you close the loophole in your legal contract with them, dissolving the hidden agreement they rely on. This, as the Knights Templar said, is the armor of awareness, your unbreakable defense against these parasitic shadows.
Here is why certain demons do not go except by prayer and fasting. Now you have to understand that the spiritual realm is a realm of legality, of power, and of rank. Write this down. Spirit beings respond to commands on the basis of the rank of he or she who is making the command. Your rank in the spirit is going to be directly responsible for what you can command to go in the name of Jesus Christ, and it obey.
The language between you and the demon is like a legal language, like
it
in
is,
court?
but the point is I challenge the spirit. I challenge the demon to come out and fight, because that's the only objective assurance I have when I tell it to go, that it's gone. So I treat it as a jurisprudence process. It's a legal confrontation. Can I convict enough so that through Christ the demon can be removed?
The name Jesus Christ does not carry the same power in the mouth of every person. One person can say the name of Jesus Christ and the demons flee. Another person says the name of Jesus Christ and the demons attack them. This is what happened in Acts 19, as we are told the story of the 7 sons of Sceva who went trying to rebuke a demon in a man in the name of Jesus Christ because they saw Paul doing it and getting results. The demon said, "We acknowledge Jesus and we know Paul, but who are you?" In other words, you don't have the rank to be telling us what to do. Your name doesn't register here. As a result of them even trying the demon beat them up and sent them running away bloodied and naked.
When you follow God's system, there is a lien on everything that is taken from you, that if the kingdom of darkness is responsible for taking it, they have to pay it back with interest. I like that system. But to get into alignment with that system, we have to be okay with it. All right, I lost this, and I lost it because of this employee or this thing or whatever. God, would you forgive them? Boom. Like a project management system, you just checked off the box. God starts orchestrating the world around you. You're going to get that back with interest because it wasn't your fault. You went through suffering for it. You became more like Jesus in the process of it. And now the system is intact and it's working. Versus this person took this from me. I'm going to sue him. Okay, you're not going to get it back. All right, you got your own revenge. It's fine. You got your own revenge. And God goes, look, I would love to protect you. You're too busy protecting yourself. Have that. That's terrifying. That's scary. You don't gain interest into the kingdom of heaven by winning or losing. You gain access into the financial favor of God through following the system.
So we have to level up in the spirit if we want to take authority over certain demons. And we level up in the spirit by intentional, regular prayer and fasting. I can't emphasize how critical it is for you to integrate fasting into your spiritual routine. After Jesus was baptized in the Holy Spirit, he was driven by the Spirit into the wilderness for 40 days to engage in what? Prayer and fasting. It's that spiritual exercise that unlocked the capacity for him to launch his power ministry.
Everything that you're seeing happening right now is because I already took authority through the blood of Jesus Christ in the spiritual realm. Destroying blockage, hindrance, delay. There's literally people, witches, that take over regions. They astral project. And the regions that don't have Christians praying against it, the regions that don't have Christians praying against the blockage, hindrance, delay of your ministry gonna crumble if you don't take authority over that in the spiritual realm. I plead salvation over all of New Mexico. I plead salvation over my school, over my workplace. Every devil, every unclean spirit, you have no power. I bind you, serve you an eviction notice right now in the name of Jesus Christ. Confuse the demons' languages, confuse their tongues, make them fight against one another. I pour the Holy Spirit fire over my situation. I plead the blood of Jesus over every witchcraft, any spell, incantation with my name on it. I boil it in the blood of Jesus Christ. Spiritual warfare, that's what's moving everything.
In Luke 4, look what it tells us happened after Jesus completed his period of prayer and fasting in the wilderness. Verse 14 tells us Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and news about him spread through the whole countryside. Jesus exercised his spirit in prayer and fasting, He came blazing in spiritual power, casting out demons, healing the sick, you know the rest. In order to build capacity to deal with stubborn demons in your life and in your family, you will need to engage in intentional prayer and fasting. When you can master that, your rank will increase to the extent that Jesus can now send you out on assignments to lift spiritual burdens from people who are in your domain. And those will be people you don't even know.
Here's how you can access the UCC One reports on how the United Nations governments connect themselves to God. First, you will have to go to the Forest Washington government website. As this video continues, I'm going to show you two different ways on how to access this document. The first way is by researching the name Jesus Christ on this website. First, you're going to click Browser Names. And then you're going to click the third option, search name of a secure party, which is an individual. And we're going to put in the name Christ Jesus. Then click the second option, Christ Jesus. And we want to include the lapse records. And then click Certified Research Report. And here's the document from the Washington State Department of Licensing. The file number is very important to keep for you to find this document. As you can see, there's a list of countries which are governments that are connected to the United Nations. And on the last page, you will see who the assessors and the secure and authorized parties are. The second way we're going to find that same document is by researching that file number on the same website. So this time we're going to search the file number. I copied the file number from the first document that we researched and pasted in. This document showed up to be a debtor from King George III, which will have the same file number and same document. All of these documents will be published by the Washington State Department of Licensing. As you can see, it's the same file number. And this document was filed September 21st, 2022. As you can see, it's the same countries listed. And all of these countries / governments are debtors to Christ Jesus and God. The name Christ Jesus has a S next to its name because it's a secure party. God in heaven is an assigner. The United Nations is an assigner, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York is an assigner. And the authorized party is God. So I'm making this video to show the masses that this is not a fake document. It's obviously something that we can all research, and I'm giving you the tools to research it. As you can see, Jesus is not only connected to religion, it's also connected to governments and businesses of the world. So when the real Christ shows up, he will be governing and conducting God's business. Now I'll be putting out a longer video on my YouTube about these UCC1 documents because TikTok always takes down my videos when I talk about the UCC1 reports. So you can research me down here and see you soon.
According to traditional religious texts, particularly the Christian Bible, Satan, originally called Lucifer, meaning light bearer, was expelled from heaven due to pride and rebellion against God. The common narrative describes that he desired to elevate himself above God, or to be equal with God. According to some lesser-known theological interpretations and apocryphal texts, Satan's rebellion could indeed be characterized as a political uprising of sorts. Some ancient manuscripts suggest Lucifer advocated for angelic autonomy and a more distributed power structure rather than the divine monarchy. He allegedly gathered about 1/3 of the heavenly host, who sympathized with his vision of celestial governance, where angels would have more say in cosmic affairs. This perspective frames the conflict less as a simple good versus evil narrative, and more as a fundamental disagreement about the nature of power and authority in the celestial realm. In many theological traditions, God's omniscience and role as the ultimate creator does establish a natural hierarchy. The concept of respecting one's creator is indeed central to many religious frameworks. The traditional interpretation aligns with your view. Satan's rebellion represented ingratitude and hubris, challenging the natural order within God's house. Many religious texts emphasize that Satan's fundamental error was failing to recognize his proper place in the divine order and the inherent wisdom of his creator. This perspective on cosmic authority and proper reverence for one's creator remains a cornerstone of many theological traditions.
Is there any theological texts or anything that hint to something that influenced Satan?
The Book of Enoch and some esoteric Jewish mystical texts suggest the existence of primordial forces or entities that predated the current cosmic order. These texts vaguely reference outer darkness, or beings from previous creation cycles that might have influenced Lucifer. Some medieval commentaries propose that Satan's rebellion wasn't sudden, but gradual, stemming from exposure to something called the void, or the abyss, representing chaos that existed before ordered creation. This exposure allegedly planted seeds of discord in his thinking. However, mainstream theological traditions generally maintain that Satan's fall came from within himself, his own pride and desire, rather than external corruption, emphasizing the concept of free will even among angelic beings. The concept of time as a divine construct created specifically for human spiritual development appears in various mystical traditions across different faiths. Some ancient texts do suggest that physical reality serves as a kind of school or testing ground for souls. Regarding longevity in biblical accounts, there are indeed esoteric interpretations suggesting that harmony with divine law correlates with physical vitality. Several mystical traditions propose that sin creates separation from the divine source, potentially affecting our connection to life force itself. As for Satan's presence on earth, various theological commentaries suggest multiple purposes. Some view it as part of a divine plan, where even negative forces ultimately serve instructional purposes. Other interpretations suggest Earth became a shared domain where both human redemption and angelic judgment could unfold simultaneously.
Jesus of Earth UCC filing is connected to King Charles. Look that up under fortress.wa.gov.
KC 33, which is 1/3 of the angels that fell.
So see what they did? They took authority,
33.33.
right? Made a earthly kingdom, right, under them, the fallen ones, right? Didn't Jesus say, "My kingdom is not of this world," right? It's a heavenly world. It's a spiritual. It's not here, but we can make it here.
Enoch is pretty specific about the end time calendar. And one of the things that happens is that we have a catharsis within the church, the greater church. So there's supposed to be an event that brings everyone together under the false church, which you could say that the Kirk incident could possibly be that tipping point. And then the church attempts to steal the intention, the corrupt church attempts to steal the intention of all these new nascent followers. And that's when the church disintegrates and falls and is shown to be part of the true evil of the realm. That's a synopsis of Enoch's statement about what happens as the age turns into this next age of redemption, this Jubilee age, which is the Aquarian age. If you haven't read Enoch, over on the Gandalph Rumble channel, we actually read Enoch. Hercules and Cassie and I read Enoch, and that's all in a playlist. It's under the scriptures playlist.
Knock knock.
Right. And Charlie Kirk was supposed to be laid to rest in Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, right? Like rising from the ashes, Phoenix, which he has not been buried yet. Right. So it looks like there might be a
Second coming of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, second coming of Charlie Kirk. I wouldn't doubt it.
Jubilee
I
Campfire.
mean, how long's it been? They haven't buried him. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
There was no sequestering of the shooting incident as a crime scene. There was no rush to the hospital. There was no interview with the doctor who said, it's all a farce.
And the show must go on.
Right.
You see how fast they just move right on past something like that happens? You can get gunned down in front of everybody on TV and everybody just acts like nothing happened. Oh, wow, it's like, what the hell are y'all talking about the Super Bowl halftime show for? Everybody just got blown away on the damn TV. Wouldn't you be using your platform to bring light to who the hell did it?
No, his wife's not even questioning him.
Oh, his wife must be Candace Owens because she's the only woman questioning his murder.
Right.
And she's actually dropping more receipts today, stating CK's
She's also a
stance.
Freemason.
Yeah, it's Freemasonic theater.
Yeah. So, I don't put no trust in none of those people.
Right. But just telling you, the way,
Oh, yeah.
season 58, episode 7 went
Right.
today of the Truman Show.
Yep.
Hope everybody's entertained and got plenty of popcorn. And you don't lose your sanity trying to make sense of it. Because it's crazy.
It's not going to get any better this week. On Thursday, I think it's Thursday, is it the 9th? Hillary is supposed to come forward and actually be held to task. And by then, they should have tracked down James Comey. He should have been nice enough to come in and turn himself in or whatever's going to happen. I mean, we're seeing the disintegration of the tyranny system. And that's why the digital ID and everything else is rolling out so hard. They're trying to put you in a box. And that box has no perspective except for what is fed to you by the MSM. So I grieve for those who are stuck in the middle of this energy cycle of fear.
I mean, does really MSM really stand for mainstream media, or is it Master Satanic Masonic Theater? I don't know. But you got the MM is 33 with the S in the middle. It looks like the serpent. If you look at it, just those 3 letters alone. But yeah, a lot coming this week. And James Comey is just a little sacrifice that has to be made to keep the dogs happy. Right. A small fish. This is like, here, okay, here. You want somebody here?
Him in forever, right?
Right. Just come. Hey, Sidney Powell came back on the scene too, just the other day as well.
Right. Exactly.
Telling everybody that we need to go.
Haven't seen her since they locked the doors and wouldn't let her in that White House.
Yeah, since I released the Kraken, that was about it. Yeah, she wants to do the Insurrection Act.
Right.
Because of that war that's in Portland.
Which there's hardly
no war.
There's like a tiny group of protesters.
There's no war. We got video footage.
And it's a very small group.
Apparently they mistook Portland with Gaza.
There was more cameras than there were people.
Yes, there's more cameramen than there were protesters, folks. Okay.
Good one.
Really?
No, that's for real. That's,
There was a guy down there who, yeah, he was had a YouTube channel. He was showing it. There's like nobody.
yeah.
Actually, the streets were
Hey,
dead.
check this out. We got a second, right? Just let me show you the video footage real quick, so you can see what I'm talking about.
I was like, where's all the people? There wasn't even anyone on the roads.
Right here it is, right here.
Go watch the live cam. There's
Yeah.
hardly anyone even on
Yeah,
the
check this
roads,
out.
on the streets, on the freeways. It's really weird. Where'd
Because
they
it's
all
all
go?
bullshit. It's like COVID.
Yeah, but you think on the freeway there would be more cars, so there wasn't.
Right. Okay. Looking for the video here. Hold on one second. I don't know where that's at, Miss Sheepdog. You got it? I know I shared it to myself.
Played it.
You sent a bunch of stuff here.
Probably up there.
Oh well. Anyways, I'll share it out.
Well, on another note, Bird got a new toy today, so she made a couple of videos that when you're ready, she wants to show them.
Yeah, go ahead.
¿Sabías que la primera lavadora...
And then she also where'd it go?
That's badass. That's what sound like some tropical music.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know, if you're not familiar, the device is called Plant Wave, and you actually connect these two electrodes to a living plant, and it pulls the frequency and sound out of the living plant and turns it into an audible sound that you can actually hear. So needless to say, when she got it charged, she rode around on her bike today and went and tested and played with a bunch of orchestra plants. She disappeared for a while. I had no idea where she was going and when she was coming back.
I'm going to do it tomorrow, too.
She just said she's going to do it tomorrow, too.
I'm jealous.
It was awesome.
Don't be jelly.
I was saying that was awesome, and he was muted.
I was muted when my wife was trying to talk about it. I
That
said,
is
"Say it
awesome.
again." She looked at me like, "What? Say what again?" I said, "What you just
Because I
said?"
thought you were unmuted.
No. I was trying to not have the echo.
Are you being serious right now?
Serious? Yeah, she was cracking the whip this morning, man, in the chat. I had to like tell her to calm down. We're like recording right now, and don't do this in public.
At least you didn't have the video on.
Was not.
We'll let your imaginations, you know.
No, I don't have any problem with my imagination. I don't need any help.
Yeah, she was just being passionate about the topic, and we
Yeah, trying to hijack.
that's what she calls it.
Okay, I gotta stop now.
Just being passionate. Oh, okay. That's some hellish.
Bert said she didn't get loud.
Yeah, you got to get loud every now and then, man.
That's right. You gotta shake the walls. What's that bumper sticker I saw on the back of an RV? It says, "If the RVs are rocking, don't come a knocking."
Oh shit!
Oh, you got to take it down to that level.
Hey, if I get rolling, you might as well just get out of the way. Lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Yeah, lead, follow, get out of the way. That's a good one. Get the hell out of the way.
Uh-oh, no chili dog treats for you, sheepdog. Maybe tomorrow.
No chill dogs. Oh, speaking of
No
chill
chill
dogs,
doggies.
I gotta order some more from sheepdogspets.com.
Better watch out. And the sheepdog will grind them up into a smoothie and give it to you, and you'll pass out for hours.
No, she's the one that passes out at the drop of a dime. It don't matter what's going on. I'm the one that struggles with sleep. You know, sometimes I don't get any. Sometimes I do.
And I'm just the opposite. I got no problem with sleep. If I sit still for 5 minutes, I'm out.
Oh, here's the footage. Yeah, I found the footage. Let me share this real quick. Let me show you all Portland. Yeah, I know it's been blank. Let me go to. All right, here is Portland. I'll show everybody so you can see what I'm talking about. This war zone. Now I want everybody to this. I don't know why my phone's doing that. But here's Portland. This is big time war zone, folks. Put on your Kevlar jacket, your helmets, and your vest. I don't know if y'all can hear it. I don't even know.
Are you sure that's Portland?
Bro, this is Portland. This Christy Nome visits Portland ice facility. This is the war zone. This is the 1 square block of chaos that they were wanting to bring in the military in for. Dude, they want to do the Insurrection Act because of this.
Camera is a significant number of federal agents who have spent the last 10, 15 minutes or so removing what was an upside down flag
They had protests.
that had been attached to that fence. It looked like it was
So that this is just today.
Hey, that one guy's walking with a limp.
There's more. Oh, oh shit. See, As we can see here, this is Portland. This is that one little square block that they said there was a war taking place.
Some PA systems or loudspeakers where they're playing various music, and that's pretty much the scene down here.
Here, check it out.
The shoulder of the ice facility there. We'll be staying on top of this. As soon as we learn more, we'll come back to you and bring you any of that updated information. For now, I'm going to keep monitoring the situation from here, just outside the ice facility on the south waterfront, and I'll send it back to you, Greg, if you got any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Ezra. I mean, this is a pretty unique shot that you have right here. So again, for people joining in, this is from a residence right there within that, looks like that secure area that they have.
That's right.
And now you mentioned that they were.
That's right. So we are. Yeah, so we're at somebody's residence who I've been working with and talking to. This is a very unique position. So this is somebody's home. This is their balcony, and this is the view that they've had, for the past many months, but especially as protests have ebbed and flowed. In addition, just the proximity to the ice facility behind me, they have dealt with a significant amount of chemical agents that when they're deployed down there on the street, they come right up here into her residence. Even with the doors closed, they seep in. It's meant that she can't use the balcony. She has a child, and the child can't really spend that much time out here. So this is somebody who I've been talking to for quite a while, and so for now we're gonna just hang out on her balcony and observe the day as it progresses.
Yeah, and it looks like, as you mentioned, a lot of stuff going on there on the edges. It sounds like a lot in the background. I don't know what all that, street noise or if there's some kind of a loudspeaker going on. Is that what I'm hearing in the background there?
Yeah, there are loudspeakers being used by protesters, folks who are here demonstrating. There's not a huge crowd of protesters here. What we're seeing this morning is kind of that typical what we were seeing before a lot of this attention just picked up. Maybe a dozen folks, right? Probably fewer than a dozen folks would gather here. Much more media than protesters here at the moment. And so what you might have been hearing are the megaphones from some of those protesters. Additionally, some protesters have set up some PA systems or loudspeakers where they're playing various music, and that's pretty much the scene down here. It's entirely civil. Folks are hanging out behind the yellow line, and we're just kind of waiting to see what's going on.
All right. Well, Ezra, thank you very much for bringing this.
Yeah, there's a dozen people there, and they're jamming out, having a good time. I wonder if they got some hot dogs for sale down there. $8 hot dogs with all you.
Get your hot dog. Get your hot dog.
So that's the war zone, folks. I know you were looking for like tanks and shit, but you got to be careful what they tell you on the media and what you actually got to look into it. I actually listened to some of the locals tell me there's nothing going on here. What the hell is what are they talking about? Is he being shown 2020 footage? But I've seen a guy dressed up as a frog standing in front of the ice facility, mocking them. That's all. It was just clowning, right? Regular, but it was turned into like some wartime. Yeah. So anyways, on to more. Um, on to the next It's weird because what's crazy is you got all these people calling for the Insurrection Act, and there's nothing going on. But only via the media. There's more cameramen there than there are protesters. On one city block. Where's the ice facility?
As it seems at all.
Right.
All that happened when there actually was fight.
And the police can't do nothing because they have the right to protest. So all they can do is make sure that they don't hurt anyone or anything like that. Then you commit a crime. When you get violent and riot and destroy property and shit like that, that's a whole other ballgame. But you can have the right to sit out there and listen to the radio and sell some hot dogs. Or whatever it is you're doing with your bullhorns. That's all we got for tonight. Everything isn't as it seems.
Yep, getting dropped off. Got to go take care of a pet emergency.
Alrighty. We'll close out here and we'll see y'all in the morning. First thing, we'll be doing the morning show in the War Room on Telegram, and we do the afternoon show, which is what you're seeing tonight. And we want to thank everybody for coming on with us.
Just a reminder, we got the Mushroom Ladies on tomorrow night.
There you go.
Get your mushrooms, get your mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Get your mushrooms.
There you go. There you go.
I don't think that was one of the Masonic things, right? The pizza, hot dogs, chicken, mushrooms aren't in them.
There you go.
That's the first position.
So have a fun, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Great show.